So what are you having?
Where am I?
Just a
What?
whiskey, right?
Uh, no, I have some different things here. I won't even say. You'll probably give out of me. I know you like it's mezcal or it's nothing for you, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I just leave it at that. Yeah, so you'll be
Okay.
the expert. You'll be the expert on drug, even though I've done more probably psychedelics than you. I'll have to. We'll treat you. You'll be the expert here on you. Like,
No, no, don't make me the expert. I am not an expert.
well, you've done a bit. I mean, you volunteered to be the
Well,
expert.
that's true. I'm starting to regret it, but okay, let's
Well,
do
I
it.
mean, so I mean, you have something to say about it. Obviously, you felt it was here. Must put my little costume on.
Well, yeah, I feel that there is a lot of judgment. Hey, what's up with the cloak?
This is it. This is the way we do it.
Why? Are you a priest?
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so as I was telling you, I have a lot of ideas when it comes to psychedelics and drugs in general. I
Right.
feel like society is not ready to face the fact that we actually need them.
Yeah.
It is a very important part of self-development, but there is still a lot of judgment in society. So there is something that I think that it will be interesting to talk about.
Yeah. So we'll start. Yeah. So my guest today is She Biohacks. I'll introduce now, and she's drinking mezcal. She's Mexican, and she has done LSD and does not regret it. I think, right?
I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. So same as me, although I did sort of have a bad experience as well. But overall, I don't know if I recommend it. I do sort of, in a strange way, but this is what we're going to talk about. And she's got her own ideas about it, and she's going to start telling me about how much insane amounts of LSD she's done, and how she's
Well, it's kind of
completely.
sad that you're asking that because it was not insane at all. It was just like half of a tab, and still I tripped my brains out. I learned a lot, I gotta say that. But
Okay.
it wasn't as crazy as you will think it was.
Mm.
Come
Let's
on,
hear
drink,
about it.
drink, drink, chuck that.
What happened. Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah. So what happened?
So,
What happened
okay.
on the one time?
Yeah, so throw back to that. So I was with a painter. So there was this one guy that offered me to try it. So we went to some hill in the middle of the desert and we just sat there in the middle
Wow.
of the hill,
Cool.
the middle of the desert. It was like late at night, like 9, 10 p.m. and I started tripping. The classical trip, the first thing that where you are just like a witness of the universe and you're having like these very pretty sensations all over you and you're one with nature, but
Yeah.
then slowly but slowly, the thing is with, I don't know, I like to think about in terms of IQ. I feel like the smarter you are or the more sophisticated your knowledge is, you get more deeper thoughts when it comes to the world and when it comes to yourself. So
Right.
there is that moment where psychedelics actually become a tool of self-discovery. And I think that that is an experience that happens to a lot of people. So what do you
Yeah.
think?
I think that's true. Yeah. I think if you, especially if you have a lot of imagination, it's does something to
Yeah.
you beyond. It's definitely not a social drug to begin with. It's like a drug that will change your life and affect you. I mean, you've only done it the once, is that right? Or was there more than once?
No, it's
Oh,
true. Just once, but it was enough.
yeah, I've done it like quite a few times, anyways. But yes,
No
certainly
way.
when you, yeah. Well, so when you first, well, you know that. Come on. But when you first, when you do it, it like changes your because you start sort of slightly hallucinating, or you see like a rock or a tree look so amazing for the first time.
Yeah,
So it blows
true.
you off the railroad tracks you've been on of your life and the way you perceive the world a little bit. So it kind of makes the world all anew to you. And I can usually tell when if I meet people if they've done it or not. In a way, to be honest, if they look like
Yeah.
they've been on the straight and narrow track their whole lives, like from kid into adult, without ever sort of changing dramatically, then I get the feeling they have not done that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And well, yeah, you just mentioned imagination. I think that that is an important topic too, because there is a point where you are not completely sure if you are in a bad trip or if you're
Yeah,
actually losing it or if you just trigger something like some
yeah.
sort of condition in your mind and you're not really able to tell if you just became a schizophrenic in the middle of the night. That is a very serious risk. So bad tripping, that's not it.
So I thought being in Mexico, you would have maybe taken peyote or mezcal or one of these ones, but I mean, that's quite common there, isn't it? It's all, isn't it just grow out of cactuses?
Well, actually, that one time that I did LSD, I was not in Mexico. It was in the United States.
Oh
So
my God.
yeah, yeah, it was double the fun. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Okay, so what happened to you then? You just, what would you, how would you describe it? What happened to
Well, I will say that it was. I was reading this book about the research that the CIA did on
you?
LSD. So
Ah,
basically, so basically, what they found out is that LSD somehow triggers memories of when you were born. So after you take a dose, you go through several phases that are very different, but all of them are very significant, and it's pretty much like you are reliving your birth. So it's like basically you're being born again through psychedelics.
right. Well, I didn't have
Yeah,
that, but I know what you mean. It's, yeah, similar. It is like being born again. Yeah. In other ways, I don't
yeah,
recall thinking about my birth or even early childhood myself, but I mean, God knows there was all sorts of ideas and things. But like, so did
yeah.
you? So that's what you read about. So when you did it, what did you? What specifically happened to you? Did you
Well,
question
for
things
me,
about?
the
Yeah.
very weird out of body experience where I was just sitting in a bench, and then on the left side of my body, I saw a floating brain and floating out and a floating spine. And it was like, okay, so this is it. This is who I am. And it was, like very deep experience of actually realizing that it's not so much the soul as it
Mhm.
is the brain. Like, we cannot deny that we have a spiritual side to ourselves, but there is also this thing that we're more brain than anything. It's just like cultural perceptions and there are social perceptions rather more than the actual spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
So
Physically,
that,
yes, we
yeah,
are in the brain. Yeah.
yeah,
Have you ever seen those tests they did? And it's horrible. It's really not a good thing to look up. In Russia, in the Soviet Union, they beheaded some dogs, and they like kept the
yeah.
heads alive. Um, it through these,
That's
I
some
forget.
dark web stuff.
Well, so you can see this dog head, and it's still alive and doing stuff. Like there's no body, just the brain and the head.
Yeah.
Like for a while, it's obviously horrific and terrible, but they
Is it
did.
still
And
is it still barking though?
what is that?
Is it
What?
still barking?
No, I think it only lived for, I don't know. I don't know. But even when people were beheaded during the terror of the French Revolution, there was stories about as soon as the head was cut off, some guy would pick it up and slap it, and the face would like be like, "Oh, you slapped me," kind of thing, like this
Oh
beheaded.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you don't have to go back like to those French times like nowadays. Like you can see it like on ISIS videos and on narco stuff videos. You can see that
well,
happening as well, like
yeah,
in
that's
present
true.
time.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. You're right. Yeah. Yes. So you're right. The brain. Yes, the brain is. So
Yeah, so the
you saw your
brain.
brain and your spine floating on your left side. Only you said.
Yeah, I did, and that is when I realized. Well, most of the things that I see happening in my life are basically just my brain acting up. Basically, that's it. So when usually when we are, I don't want to say ignorant, but I guess I'm just going to use the word. When we are ignorant of the actual capabilities of our brain, we tend to give a lot of esoteric power and spiritual thoughts to everything that happens to us. We tend to think a lot about luck, and we tend to think a lot about karma and reincarnation and spiritual whatever. But actually, when you realize that most of the functions of your daily life come from the brain and you are in this pretty much zombie like status of the brain, you realize that you have more power than you think you do. We are not really so powerless. And that is when you begin to ponder other topics such as destiny and faith and what is going to happen to your life. Sometimes we feel like we are not in actual true power of it and like everything is random. But that is not actually true. There is a lot of power in the mind, and the brain is a very powerful machine. So this is where I'm getting a little bit into more of the law of attraction topic. So pretty much all of the things that we can think about, it can become a reality. We are the crafters of our destiny, as they say.
Law of attraction. So what's that? What's that one?
Basically, it's when you think a lot about something and then it becomes a reality in your life. Like, let's
Right.
say I want to find money in the street, and sooner or later, I will find it. It truly
And that's it,
works.
is it?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. I'm not sure I totally agree, but that's interesting. So this was your, and these are thoughts you formed afterwards, or a
Well,
revelation takes place.
no, I actually wrote like 15 pages long essay about my experience.
Huh?
So the thing about this is, it's very different from person to person, but I think that there still are very universal experiences when it comes to psychedelics. So one of the things that shocked me the most, speaking of frogs and Miami, is, I saw so many eyes everywhere in the environment when I was like on the peak of my trip. There were
Mm.
just like reptile eyes everywhere. So it got me thinking that maybe what we understand as God is really just reptiles, like our parents from back in the prehistoric times. I don't know about that. Like getting a little bit crazier here.
It's a bit crazy. It sounds very Mexican, but
I
yes,
think,
I like it.
yeah,
I like
you're
it. It's a
right.
good theory.
That's true.
Ancient reptile ancestors that are like gods, divinities watching you with those ancient
Yeah.
primordial eyes through the years of evolution. It's interesting, yes.
I mean, we
Yeah,
have reptilians, right? And those are
yeah,
in Mexican.
yeah. You got a lot of them there. Yeah, yeah, that's good. So, and is there anything more? Is that the summation?
Well, no, it's not really it. I mean, there's so many things, and there's also this feeling of unity. Like, I mean, it's a very complicated kind of um idea or concept, but it's like when you stare at yourself in the mirror when you're tripping, it's like you look like you belong to so many races. I saw myself like turning black, and I saw myself then turning Asian. Yeah, I swear. And it
Okay.
was just like, yeah, we are all one, or some sort of hippie bullshit in there.
Well,
But
that's very Neoplatonic, yeah. But I
yeah,
mean, if there's one thing you shouldn't do on a psychedelic, is look in the mirror for too
that's what
long.
they say. But
But
I think that's a lie. They say
okay,
that you
you
can
have
fry your brain. Do you think that you can fry your brain by looking at yourself in the mirror?
well, not fry your brain, but probably get scared or something. There's a even like in normal without being on drugs, you stare in the mirror for long enough. It's sort of like I I don't know. You get kind of like a dose of reality. Is like
Yeah,
so that's it. This is reality. I don't know.
yeah,
It's stark. I think.
but that
If
is like when you are scared of yourself.
maybe,
Yeah, it's
maybe
because you are scared of yourself. Because I don't think that if you, let's say that you give a mirror to a Buddhist monk in the middle of the Himalayas, he's going to get scared of his own reflection. I don't think
it's
so.
not really fear. It's more like I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question. I have to think about it. I'd have to
Yeah,
think.
it's like reality gets distorted, and then you start to see things that aren't really there, but deep down they are. It's like you can witness your shadow self in the mirror.
Yeah, yeah. I remember taking them and seeing like real, genuine hallucinations. One time I saw like a lot of things, like people that were. I was sitting outside my house, and it was like the shadow of the house on the lawn was like waves moving like waves on the ocean, but inside the shadows there was like people that weren't there, but I could see them. And I remember wanting to talk to them or find out
Yeah,
who they were, but things
yeah,
like
that sounds like
serious,
salvia.
like what?
Like salvia.
Oh no, I never did salvia. No, but yeah, I mean it was just intense, I guess. But things like this where you'd see things that I remember that are like serious non-reality things. Well, or maybe they're hyper reality. I don't know, but
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
know
that.
what you're saying. So now let me ask you, what do you think about this story that they say about this guy that took enough LSD and he started tripping that he was a box of orange juice, and then he fell to his side, and then he said that he couldn't get up because he was spilling, and then he stayed in his trip forever. That is
I
like a
don't know.
very well-known internet legend about psychedelics. And I
Okay,
yeah, it is. It is very well known. I'm shocked that you don't know about that. But yeah, I
no.
have always wondered if it's true.
Well, yeah. How would you know? I don't know. There's like some horrible. There's horrible drug stories on the internet, not psychedelics, but like angel dust and stuff like that. People like doing
Oh,
some pretty hard things.
yeah,
Like
and they actually sell it like they are psychedelics.
do
It's
they? Yeah.
very scary.
Right. So, and you, I believe you also like smoke marijuana. Is that true? Did you say that?
I used to, not anymore. Not
Not
anymore,
anymore.
but I used to, and I always used to do like, like have a trip within myself. It was like self-knowledge tool kind of thing. So yeah, a lot
Right.
of reflection in there. So I was reading that it has some sort of feminine energy, and that is the reason why men get hooked on it, but it's not as strong on women because you very rarely see women that get addicted to it.
Is that what
So
it is? I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and and they say that many men actually treat it like it's a girlfriend. That's very shocking to me.
It's a pretty lame girlfriend. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I've
true.
seen people that
That's
get
true.
addicted to it. They get addicted to it, and they just. It's more like if they don't get it, they get kind of weird,
Yeah, it's like a
and when they're on it,
psychological
they're just
addiction.
normal. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, more than physical. So as far as I am aware, you cannot get physically addicted to it, but it's very psychological. Like it becomes
yeah,
like an emotional dependence kind of thing.
yeah. I don't hardly ever do it, and but it's possible. I do believe that can be also in small amounts therapeutic in a way, probably because it causes introspection, like psychedelics on a lower scale, and you kind of can reflect and think about things in your life that you wouldn't normally.
Yeah,
So
that's
they
true.
kind of value that way. I think I would say about it. But
Like
yeah,
the
people
arts.
get hooked on it and they smoke it all day long, and that's no good. It's just then when you're addicted to something like that, it's like anything, and you just need it to be normal, and then it's useless.
Yeah, totally. And that is something that must be really avoided with psychedelics. And oh, there is one more thing that I had with LSD. You know, like how you usually like your eyesight, like when you are looking at an object, you are just looking at the object, and then everything in the background just goes blurry.
Yeah,
Well, for me, it was like I didn't have the blurry effect anymore, and it was like I could see everything at the same time. And then I lost it after the trip. It's like something got
yeah,
triggered in my brain, and I could see everything at the same time.
yeah. That's like when you see tracers. I remember seeing those as well, where like I'd watch someone move and you could see every step he took along the way, like there were photographs.
Yeah,
Was it
yeah,
like that?
something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
I remember seeing things like that as well. Well, the one time I took too much acid, and saw, I remember thinking it was raining brightly colored paint. And I remember thinking someone was over my shoulder trying to talk to me, and I kept walking in a circle in a room, like trying to look over my shoulder.
I wish that was
Stupid crap
me.
like that. Yeah, but so you can get to intense hallucination levels that kind of are too much for the brain, and that's when you can potentially get fried or go crazy, probably if you know
Speaking of
your brain
crazy,
can't go.
I want
Yeah.
to go back to the reptilians topic. So
Okay.
I see that you don't believe in reptilians. I totally believe in reptilians after tripping. Like
Oh,
they are out
you mean
there.
the David Icke reptilian thing? Is that what you mean? The
Uh,
reptilians are ruling the world thing? Is that what you meant?
yeah, yeah, they are.
Okay, I didn't know that's what you meant. Jesus. Well, that's big. That's big news.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, there's a premise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Tell me. I don't know that much about it, so you may as well talk about that. Yeah. Why not? Hey,
Okay,
drinking that
yeah,
mezcal. I can't see you. You can see me. You know I'm drinking my thing. So drink that mezcal.
yeah, I am going to. So this is going to have a very ASMR effect, I guess.
Yeah. Nice sound.
Okay, drinking up. So yeah, back to reptilians. The thing is, though, I feel this like okay, here I. It's starting to hit. I'm sorry.
It's starting to what?
It's starting to hit me.
Oh, I've been drinking for a while.
Yeah, I can tell.
Why? Really? No, you can't. You
No,
never talked to me before.
just kidding. Okay, so back to reptilians. The thing with reptilians is that when you quit all of your mental and I guess emotional uh, focus out of your human emotions, I should say,
Hmm.
your mind becomes very practical and you become very stoic and you become very mathematical and a very calculating kind of individual. So when you remove all of those parts from your humanity, what you end up with is with this reptilian like personality. So that is something that I realized in this whole trip is that if we could actually remove all of these parts, we could become reptilians in the very same way that if we took all of the reptilian like and very intelligent mathematical part of the mind, you could become a lot like a monkey if you keep
Right.
like all of the emotions in there. And it's like we have this duality of animal spirits inside of us, or maybe not so much as spirits but more like characters. So
Right. Yeah. No, that's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
That's
you
interesting.
either have one or you have the other one, but still if you manage to be able to separate them, you can thrive in life.
So you don't
So
think? So you
we
think the
could join
reptilians?
money Twitter.
So you think the David Icke reptilians are just people that have abandoned that part of them,
I
but
think so, yeah.
they're still like humans, but they've just changed, like emotionally or like not physically. They're not like physically. They're not going to tear off their mask like in V, and there'll be a lizard underneath. You don't think that? Oh, do you?
No, no, I don't. I don't. I'm
Okay.
not that crazy yet.
Yeah,
Getting
trying to make the argument that psychedelics are helpful. That when you take them, you
getting
will,
there, but not yet.
and you're like, oh, immediately you've taken it once and you've got some crazy theory that is totally insane. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. But it's actually, it's a good theory, yeah, as far as that goes. And in fact, it was Julius Evola had a theory that apes, which is crazy, maybe I don't know, crazy or whatever, but that like it's not that we descended from apes, but like apes are like degenerated humans that descended back in
Yeah,
animals, which
yeah,
is interesting idea.
yeah, and
Uh,
that is like that Terence McKenna theory where he says that apes started eating mushrooms, and when they started like having the psychedelic trips, it's when they actually became humans.
yeah,
Yeah, so there's like this development or something that got triggered in the ape's brain that
yeah,
made us who we are. This
yeah,
creative, able to resonate in language kind of
yeah,
thing. That we are able to put ideas into language.
yeah. And most of like in ancient Greece, the Eleusinian mysteries, they were basically the Eleusinian mysteries in ancient Greece. They were basically taking psychedelics, as far as we know. So like all those guys,
Yeah,
Pythagoras, Plato, I mean, all of them were going into this ceremony and taking like an LSD type thing, naked, I believe, in a group, and then being revealed the sacred mystery, which they never told, and we don't know what it is, which is really unfortunate. But
yeah,
all those amazing minds would have, as far as we know, been exposed to this experience, which you had, and
which we
obviously,
had, I think you mean.
yeah, which we've had. I've had it even more than you. Yeah, I've had too much of it, probably. Like, well, maybe you can't. I don't know. Like, I'm torn on it. Like, you can't recommend it to people because people can have bad trips, and it may not help them overall. But like in a
Yeah,
moderate way, a normal person to do it at least once, definitely more open-minded in general. That's the only way. Like, genuinely open-minded, not the pretend open-mind people talk about these days, but like definitely
yeah,
open-minded. And so, like, if that's any evidence, the Greeks, like, with their astounding creativity, if that was in any way a factor, like, who knows? But it certainly speaks to McKenna's theory. So that's I want to talk about McKenna too, because Joe Rogan talks about him and people like that. I think people have an idea that he's
yeah,
a
and
bit
we
cheap.
like him.
You like Joe Rogan? Yeah, well, he's okay. Sometimes he's okay, but because he always carries on about it, like I think it's become like I get a lot of negative reaction if I post a Terence McKenna quote, even though I like him. But I'm glad that you have also read him, and yeah, he's got a lot of interesting ideas. But his ultimate one was DMT. Do you know about DMT?
Yeah, yeah, I have never done it. DMT, have you?
No, but a friend of mine has, and that, like, yeah, the fascinating thing with that is that everyone who does it, pretty much everyone, has the same hallucination that there's little
Yeah,
elves behind the scenes creating reality. And my friend
yeah,
saw them. My friend, he said he took it and he was suddenly in space looking down at the earth, and then there was one of these things pointing like a giant ray of light or something at the earth, and then it pointed towards him and the light came over top of him, and he sensed that this little elf was female or something. This was his story. The whole time he's just in his room, because as powerful as that, as powerful as what you took with LSD or anything I took, apparently DMT is like
yeah.
they say acid opens the door to this other reality, but DMT pushes you through the door. And
Yeah,
like,
that's what I've heard. And that is something that is very shocking to me about psychedelics is the fact that experiences are very universal. For example, let me go back a little bit to LSD. So most of the people that take it actually witness this reptile eyes everywhere. So there's like a very,
I never
it's
had
like,
that really. Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that's in Mexico. We get that.
I don't
Go
think
on.
so. I don't think so.
Oh, you
Like,
weren't in Mexico, right? Yeah, you were. Okay, okay, let's go. Let's hear it. Reptile eyes.
yeah. Yeah, so reptile eyes. So that and like sand-like effects of everything melting away, that is a very universal experience for anyone that takes LSD. So that
Okay.
makes me wonder a lot about DMT as well, because everyone is reporting these encounters with alien-like beings. So then you start to ponder, maybe all of these things are not really hallucinations, but actually portals to what we cannot see, like in our
Yeah.
sober mind state.
Yeah. Well, that's what McKenna would have said about the elves, that there was something that was like that. But like the other thing he said about it is that you could not explain it. As much as anybody who experienced it tried to explain it back in the real world, it wasn't possible. It didn't translate. And that the idea that they were elves in the first place was the closest word they
Yeah,
could conjure up, and that the whole thing is completely unexplainable, but something happened that was, and it
Right.
wasn't negative. Generally not negative. I think they can have bad ones, but mostly it's like informational or something. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's like most of those people describe like they have met God.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Alex Gray, he's very celebrated because he says that he can actually translate all of the things he sees while he's tripping into art. So he has
No, I
like
don't know. Who's this? I've never heard of this. Alex Cray?
Alex Ray, yeah.
Oh,
There's a lot
Ray,
of his art on like NLSD tabs.
right?
Like yeah. Like they print like Alex Ray paintings and then it's
So
like,
you know better than me. You're probably younger than me. Like when I did a lot of acid mushrooms, but this was like a long time ago. I haven't done them for many years. So you'd know more of these contemporary things than I would, unless you're talking about somebody from the '60s. I don't even realize.
I don't think that he's hmm, let me look him up real quick. So tap on my keyboard.
You know a lot of these characters and facts for someone who only took it once. Meanwhile, I know I don't know
I
all the.
did my research. He's
You certainly did,
66
yeah.
years old. He was born in 1953. So no. I mean he's still working, but yeah, no. He's a very
Okay.
classic.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
his paintings are
yeah.
very interesting. So he's pretty much bringing all of these LSD like DMT like trippy experiences and he puts them into pictures and into paintings. It's very interesting.
Hmm.
Should look him up.
And yeah, I will. Yeah, I might be. I would recognize them if I saw them. Was it a lot of like fractal patterns and things like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. I probably have seen them, and I just
yeah.
didn't know his
I'm
name,
sure
or
you
I forgot.
have. It's a
Well,
classic. You probably just don't remember.
I don't remember everything. I do nothing but like catalog artists and like show pictures of them like half the day long. So I forget about what, and I don't. Yeah, I should. I do like psychedelic art, to be honest, but yeah, I don't know. My perhaps I fried my brain taking too much LSD, and I can't remember things
Yeah,
properly.
that's a risk.
You check out my shot glass. Look at that. You see that?
Oh, very cute.
Yes.
Chug it.
No.
Straight up.
No.
Okay. I respect that.
Mm. But yes. So that's interesting. So you believe in reptile people
I do. Floating tanks. What are your thoughts on floating tanks?
floating things?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. What do you mean floating things? Like
Yeah.
clouds?
No, they are like tanks, like they are full of Epsom salt and water, and then you just lay down there and float, and
Oh,
it's so dark.
thanks.
And
Sorry. The
yeah.
way you said thanks in your crazy
Oh,
Mexican way
oh, I am
sounded like
so
thanks.
sorry. I
Yeah,
am sorry, but you like it. That's how
I
it
do like it.
goes.
Yeah, no, it's great. But yeah, no, isolation tanks. I would say are it's like that movie. What's that movie? Oh, it's a great movie. Oh, what's it
Are
called?
they in movies?
It's a great
I have
movie about it.
only,
Yeah,
well, in the media, I have only ever seen them at The Simpsons. Like Lisa goes in one of the
Altered
floating
States.
things.
Altered States. There's a book and movie. Altered States. That's it. Sorry. And
Okay.
the guy goes into an isolation tank and he begins major hallucinations, and eventually he turns into like a monkey. you,
Yeah, that's the
you like it.
thing.
You love it. Yeah, yeah. It's
I
very good.
actually consider floating things to be a psychedelic.
It is, yeah, supposedly, because
Yeah,
yeah, when you're totally buoyant and you feel nothing for whatever a couple of hours, you start to hallucinate.
yeah,
You go inward in your mind and you begin to hallucinate majorly. Apparently,
yeah, it's true. Have you ever been in one?
no. Why have you?
I have.
Oh, geez. Well, tell me about that. That's good.
Well, for me, well, it was very dramatic. So I started having like this some sort of hallucinations, I might say, of
Mhm.
Japanese dragons that were all over me, and they were laughing at me. So it was like, it was like the beginning of my shadow work. It was a lot like, okay, so even the demons are laughing at me.
Okay, yeah. Well,
So
that
that's when the
could be worse.
troll was born.
Right, right. So, were you feeling like scared or just funny or what?
No, I was very scared. I
Well, you
mean,
were
I had
scared.
a lot of yeah, I had a lot of demons all over me, and
Oh,
they were around me, and they were laughing at me. I mean, that was not funny at all.
okay. All right. So you had a terrible time in the isolation thing.
Never
Didn't work
again.
out. Oh, geez.
Never
Okay.
again.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I didn't. Pretty much every acid trip I had was good, except for the one I mentioned, because only then because I was so out of it that I started breaking windows in my house and I got thrown in the drunk tank and I thought it was in hell and all
Yeah,
this.
I can totally see you doing that. Like if
Well,
you were
whatever.
wearing that cloak, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
this was a long time ago. No, I wouldn't do such a thing now. But yes, that happened, and I thought I was in hell when I was in the drunk tank until they let me out in the morning. I was like, oh hey, I was just fucked up on drugs. But for like several hours, I was sitting there like, oh, I'll never get out of here.
No
It was,
way. That sounds like hell.
it was, yeah.
I am shocked that you're like fine right now. Like that will probably put me like in a hospital or
Well, in a
something.
way, I was saying this to somebody recently. In a way, nothing that can happen in reality could be as psychologically distressing. So everything's a cakewalk from here, basically. If that's what I
How
mean.
are you so sure? Because whatever you see during your trip is something that is actually within you and it's inside of you. It's not like you're making it up in the moment. There is something, some shadow work that you haven't done and then it's just showing up because you're tripping. So that is the
Well,
risk of going
no,
inside
because
there.
that was a hard reality of being thrown in the drunk tank and being so high. I couldn't remember how I got there, and the walls were still moving. It wasn't like I haven't actually done anything to deserve going to hell. I doesn't make any sense, you know. I don't feel guilty or anything. Or
Well, that's
it
good.
was the physical reality and being having taken such a high dose. The other guy that took the same dose as me, he just went to the hospital. He signed himself into the hospital and left, and I was running around like a lunatic at this party. It was a party at my house. It was lots of people.
Okay, so is he okay now? Or is he
Oh yeah,
still
no,
tripping?
everybody was fine in the end. Yeah, it was fine.
Well, good.
And
I'm
even
glad.
afterwards, like for weeks, everyone was just laughing. I remember that time you ran around and did all this. I had really long hair at the time. I was pulling up my hair, like tearing it out of my head.
Oh yeah, that's a classic. That
Is it?
happened to
Yeah,
me during LSD too. Yeah, I
you
was.
did that too.
I did because
Wow.
I had this part. I blame it on shadow work. Like all the bad trips and all the bad experiences, I blame them on shadow work all the time. So I had this part where
Shadow
I
World. Is that what you're saying? Sorry, Shadow World. Is that what you
shadow
said?
work, like work, as in working out, as in working out the shadow.
Working out the shadow. What's that about?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you're just seeing all of the negative things that are inside of you and in your
Shadow work.
psyche.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this
so
is like,
you're
is
just
this
very
like
much
a,
working.
is this a psychological term? I'm not aware of some. Is this a common term? Shadow work.
Yeah, I am almost sure that it's Jungian. Like it's a
Oh,
Jungian
okay.
term.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
read some Young, but I haven't really read it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
oh, shadow work. Okay, so the shadow work involves working on your dark sides or things that cause you fear, and is that it?
Yeah, yeah, and it's pretty much like your fears and your traumas and all of the things that pretty much work negatively against you.
Right.
So during
So
this
yours
trip,
were
like,
Japanese dragons for some reason.
sorry?
Yours were Japanese dragons for some reason.
Yeah, yeah, that was just like the very first part of like in the floating tank thing. But back to LSD, I
Yeah.
had this moment where I kind of felt like I had become homeless or something because I was fine, and then out of nowhere, I could see myself like I was rotting away, and my hair felt like it was dirty. So you just started pulling it from my head, and I was just exasperated from it. So I don't know. There's something with the long hair. It's like an esoteric tool kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know why I was doing it. Uh, yeah, I wouldn't know because I went in such a state that I don't normally actually when you take it, you remember everything very acutely. Like everything's
Yeah.
very exaggerated and precise, and it's not like being drunk where you black out. But this time
Yeah.
it was
No.
like that one time I took too much. It was like a blackout, and all I have are these fevered dream kind of memories that don't make sense because some of them are crazy. Like I remember seeing like a parade go by or something made of wicker that was floating off the ground, and I remember I like at first I was like, "Hey, this is great," and then I stopped and wait, this is impossible. This is insane, and I got all panicky about it.
That's the stuff I like.
Yeah. So, anyways, whatever point I had, I forget what it was, but
Yeah. Okay.
go
So
on yourself.
insanity. Insanity is very interesting. So
Mm,
it's very hard to differentiate when you're having a bad trip and where you are actually going insane. Like I
yeah.
wouldn't be able to tell what's the difference, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it's like to go insane, but when you see insane people, it's more. I mean, there's different types of insane, but it's not the same as because even like you can often tell when something's drugs. I think compared to actual insanity. Actual insanity is
Yeah,
severe,
but
and you see it's
there's
more like
this
there's a
difference.
blockage. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
there's a difference between seeing someone high on crack and seeing someone high on
yeah,
LSD.
yeah,
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 like
yeah.
crack looks like drugs. LSD looks like insanity. Like,
Yeah.
let's be real.
Well, I don't know. I've seen like crackheads like twitching and doing all fucked up things. Like LSD in moderation is more like you meet somebody and they're like, it's like you're talking to a guru or something, or
Yeah,
usually they will be very interesting. They won't be like, if they're really fucked up, they might be running around naked or something. Like we used to
Yeah,
do
that's
it.
true.
All those times I used to do it, we used to go into town in this place where I was at, and like even be social. Like we wouldn't just hide in a room. We would like go around just for see, because everything was so amazing and interesting that you'd be like intense levels of stimulus.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I see what you're saying. Like it's the colors and it's the ideas that you're getting and all of these very different impressions that you get.
Mm. But McKenna used to do it for therapeutic reasons. He would sit there alone in the dark. He'd take 5 grams of mushrooms and just sit there and like
Yeah, I
go
have
inside himself.
never done mushrooms. I'm starting to get jealous now.
Oh, they're the best. They're actually the best because it's basically the same, but it just feels natural. It doesn't feel like because
Do
it
you
is
think
natural.
that you can go insane from mushrooms? Like, I
I think
feel
you can
like
go
I
insane.
could go insane from LSD, but I am not so
I
sure.
don't think you would. If you did it again and just watch your dose, honestly, you'd be okay. I'm pretty sure. Just don't take too much because it gets tempting to take more and more because you want to. But like all this talk for people that haven't done it, it's not like other drugs. First of all, and again, we don't necessarily recommend it because it's dangerous. We're just
Yeah, I
saying,
know.
we're just saying we don't necessarily. How should I put it? It's interesting, but we don't recommend it. It's for the adventurous or something like this. But it's not like other drugs. It's not like
Yeah,
a social drug, or it's not like a drug you can get addicted to because it's so potentially psychologically traumatizing or
true.
intense. It's not like smoking weed or anything else.
Yeah, that's true.
But
And you know that it's like,
Terrence McKenna's best story was he in one of his books. It was like he was having a hard time in his life and he was feeling down about something, and so he thought he'd self dose to be therapeutic and take 5 grams of mushrooms in the dark. And he was going to ask himself, or he always talks like the mushrooms are like an alien being that you can communicate with in your brain, because he thinks of the spore. He even has theories about spores coming through space to start strains of mushrooms on Earth
yeah,
and stuff, which is possible because it was proven
yeah,
from a comet or something, was it, or a meteor, that they can exist on these things. Anyways,
yeah, that's
so he,
true.
he feels he's communicating with aliens when he does it, or a higher power, or just whatever. And when he self doses for therapeutic reasons, but he was having a hard time in his life, and he went in thinking, I'm going to ask myself, what was it? Am I doing the right thing? And so he asked himself this while he was hiding mushrooms, and the answer was, what kind of chicken shit question is that?
Yeah, that's the classic. That reminds me. I read. Sorry about that. I read like 2 months ago. You better cut off all of the stuttering, please.
What's that?
You better cut off all of my stuttering right now.
Oh, you're not stuttering. I thought you meant me. Am I stuttering?
No, I am.
You better drink that
Okay.
mezcal. That'll sort you out.
Yeah, no, it's hitting me. It's hitting me right in the head. So I read
Good.
like a couple of months ago that Aldous Huxley, when he was about to die, he actually got a dose of LSD, and he
Did he?
was. That's what I read. I am not sure if it's true, but I
Well,
read that happened, and that he told his wife right about he was about to die. Everything is true. So he was tripping and also dying. So that is probably one of the worst ways to go.
everything is true. Is that what he said?
Everything is true, yeah, according to what I read. So don't quote me on this, but that's
What a
what I
cryptic
read.
way. That's amazing. I didn't know that. I knew that Timothy Leary took them as he was dying. I didn't know that Aldous Huxley did.
That is
Wow.
something that I will do, to be honest. Like, I really want to try DMT, but I will do it until I am like very old and I have nothing else to lose. Because what if I see something that changes my life forever and then I just cannot keep living? What if I realize that the elves and the aliens are actually God and I have no control and this is something like the Sims game or something? I don't want to
Well,
take a
you could do
risk.
it now. You could do it now. You can do it later. There's a bit of wisdom I had from a friend of mine back in Canada. He was dying, like I didn't know him that well. An older guy. I forget, he had cancer, and he was smoking. And I was like, "What are you doing smoking?" Because he was dying, and he goes, "There ain't no prize for living the longest." And I always thought that was a nice little snippet of wisdom in terms of what you want to do, or your day of death will come
Yeah,
now or later.
yeah,
And
that's
as
sweet.
spiritual people, we are not we are prepared for it. I would say, even though
Well,
you're a bit different than
yeah.
me.
Well, yeah, but the thing with psychedelics is that it makes you face truths that maybe you are not actually ready to work with. Like, you can be
Yeah,
faced with something
but the
that you
truth is the
will not
truth,
be
and
able
you
to
can either,
right.
whether you can cope with it or not. If it's true, yeah. Sorry, yeah, no, I know what you mean though. Yeah. But if it's true, you should try to cope with it.
Maybe.
That would be the Homeric way of dealing with anything. If it's true, you should try to.
No, I am not sure. It's like, it's like the thing with like most psychedelics. It's like you take them on the weekend and then you try to go back to work on Monday like nothing happened. It just doesn't work like that. You just cannot integrate back into a bad routine of corporate working or whatever. You just cannot go and back and sit in the office and work through that. And that is something that makes me shy away from DMT.
Oh, you're worried about your job, and yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
like like normal life.
I was in school at the time that I did most of that, so I can't speak to that. But I mean, the corporate world is shit and
Tell me about
depressing,
it.
and will kill you whether you're high or not. It will destroy you because
That's
it is
true.
shit. But yeah, I understand what you mean. No, this is very interesting. So, what? Tell me about the isolation tank when you had a terrible. How long were you in there?
For like 2 hours.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's all.
that's it. Because I meditate a lot. So
Oh, okay.
meditation makes you trip very quickly and
Right.
with very low doses. So
Oh,
I really need like lots of hours in there. Like I start tripping almost immediately.
yeah. Okay.
So
And
you need
so were you meant
cheap
to be in logger and
water.
you said, get me out or something like that?
No, no, I just pretty much just opened the door by myself, just
Oh,
hyperventilating, and yeah, I cannot make it anymore.
the dragons.
They're getting me.
You have to watch that movie Altered States because it's amazing, but
I
it's all about that.
will.
Yeah, Altered
I'm
States.
taking note
Don't
right
forget.
now.
Yeah, no,
Altered
it's very
states.
good. It's very good. It's like in 70s movie or maybe early 80s. I think it's 70s.
Oh, that's the
It's
best
all
meme
about
of
that.
all times.
But
Like,
what was I going to say? Hold on. What was I going to say to you about that? So you got out of that. So you had a terrible experience with that. So what was it? What is that? Is that fill you with fear now about doing it again or doing other
yeah,
psychedelics?
I wouldn't do it again. Yeah, no, no. Like, like I'm telling you, the only thing that I will ever do is DMT once I am very old. And if I die young, well, that's it.
It's
I'm going with the trying it. Not even, not even going to
okay.
risk it.
Okay. The only thing you're going to do is the most intense thing possible when you're old.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
when I'm old and I am ready to die, because what if I am not able to integrate the experience into life? At least I am retired and I don't have to worry about work anymore.
Oh, I don't know. When you're in this frame that's falling apart and you're like hyper aware of everything, it might be, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it could go two ways. Like you regret that you didn't take it sooner,
It'd be good
or
to see the elves and get some like definitely it would be good to see the elves and like try to, try to what?
hmm,
Try to
sounds
understand
convincing. I'm
reality.
not going to lie. I'm almost sold on it.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You'll hopefully maybe if we'll do another podcast in 40 years and see how you make out. We'll get you live on DMT.
Oh yeah, that
For
sounds
now, it's
very
just mescaline.
interesting.
Or not mescaline, mezcal. Sorry.
Yes, yes, very good.
See, I would have thought you had been trying mescaline and peyote and all that because like that's all over down there, isn't it? Peyote just grows out of the fucking cactus. Oh, isn't it like everywhere
No,
down
it
there?
doesn't. No. No, it just grows in one of the states. I am not completely sure where. Unless it doesn't grow where I live.
All
But
right.
no, I don't think that it is that common. I don't think that Mexican culture is that much into psychedelics, to be
Well,
honest.
Terrence McKenna used to go down there. Well, it was more South America than Middle
Yeah,
America. So
yeah,
there,
exactly.
you don't have the tradition there of the shamans in the with the natives like he would explore in where was he? He would
I
go into the Amazon and stuff, and these tribes would
yeah,
have these shamans, and they'd be taking ayahuasca and mushrooms, I think.
yeah. Ayahuasca happens in Brazil.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. And they got crazy
Yeah,
frogs. Don't they have frogs that are like have the some
yeah,
crazy
that's in
poison?
Mexico. Yeah, there is
Oh,
where they take the DMT from.
oh
It's in
right.
the Sonoran Desert.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah, so it's called Bufalvarius. It's a toad that has like this
Right.
kind of like, yeah, like I don't know what they're called. I don't know if they're hormones for them or something. But the point is, like, when an explorer just pretty much takes it off and it crystallizes, and that is what you smoke, and that is EMT. I could do that, but that's gross. Not gonna
Well,
lie.
it's gross, yeah. But it fits in with your amphibian, not quite a reptile, but your theories. So,
It's
but
not worth it.
was there like a Mexican shamanistic tradition? There must have been with taking hallucinogens. Excuse me.
Well,
Um,
one that I know, and I think that it's the most famous one, is Maria Sabina with the mushrooms. Like all up there in Oaxaca, where even the Beatles went there, and John Lennon went there with her. and they
Yeah.
were tripping of mushrooms because she was this sort of priestess, like shamanistic priestess or whatever, and she had like this mushroom power in her, so she could actually make them trip and see the future and whatnot.
Hmm. Didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's
So
very famous as well.
you need to get into your Mexican roots and like
I
become
need,
like a become the
yeah.
shaman. You need some
Yeah.
ayahuasca, and the ayahuasca comes from a vine, isn't it? It's like a vine that grows in the jungle.
Well, I think that there is some mixture of barks, like different tree
Oh,
barks. Yeah.
right,
And they
right,
boil them, and for whatever
right.
reason, it creates CMT.
So what do you think about that shamanistic tradition?
Oh, I think that it's very true. I
Yeah,
think that they have some knowledge that we don't. It's like
yeah,
that knowledge didn't get lost in time.
right,
There are so
right.
many things that we ignore because we are somewhat blinded by culture or modern culture, or it all comes down to the economical systems. You have to work, you have to study, you have to go to school to make money, and then it doesn't leave you any free time to do any self exploration. And these people didn't have to worry about that, so they were pretty much self explorating for a living. How cool is that?
That's true. The shamans were, yeah, but I mean, those people, when you're surviving day to day and you have to get your food, it's not like they don't work hard or anything. But yeah, the whole system, yeah, our technocracy and its
Yeah.
failings once again doesn't leave room for hardly anything. Like even the fact that you can't do it, you'd be worried about exploring it on the weekends because your corporate job in
Yeah,
the day
exactly.
on the Monday, then when you have to go in. So
Yeah,
that's
and this
not.
is why we're having this call on a Saturday, because I cannot do it while I'm working.
You're only drinking mezcal.
Yeah, and
You're
only
not
on the
taking any more.
weekend. Yeah, that's so sad.
Mm, it's a sad world. Well, I mean, have you not gone into work hungover? Come on, you're a hardcore Mexican. You must have drank your face. You
I
probably drink it.
am.
I've been hungover. Well, years ago. I don't drink that much anymore, but I remember being like at work and like going to puke in the bathroom, things like that.
That's
And
so
no,
good. I love that. I
well,
love
yeah.
that energy.
Yeah, fuck them. Exactly. Fuck them. What do they really do for you? Like, you're trapped in like a proto slave.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you do more for them than they do for you. They
Mm,
barely pay you.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going commies now.
We're going commies. No, we are not commies. No, 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 no. No, we're not commies. No.
Okay, okay. But we're doing a lot of things that they do, like
No, no. We
psychedelic.
are monarchists.
Okay,
You need
cheers to
the
you as well.
you need the Emperor of Mexico come down and lay a hard theocratic. Oops, oh, I'm not going to bottom. You know, monarchist system upon the country. You need another
That's
emperor.
dramatic.
You need the emperor to return.
No, that's outdated. We just need to go back to the jungle and do psychedelic stuff in the jungle.
Well,
Like
go back
there,
to the jungle with the
can't
emperor. But
return.
if the jungle would elect a tribe, there'd be like a king of the tribe, and then eventually there'd be like a king of the kings of the tribes, and it'd be the same thing. Communism is like the false idea that everybody can rule on their own, and like jointly, even though it almost sort of works better, the American idea of the libertarian, every man's his own kingdom,
Yeah.
but it also works out badly. Works ends in materialism. It seems like to me. I think we all need kings. I mean, this is my own idea. So you wouldn't agree with that? You don't think a king is the best system? Is that right?
Wow.
What do
I
you?
mean, you're turning now into politics. I thought that
Yeah,
the
you're right.
whole
We couldn't
topic
do that.
was
No,
going
no,
to be
never
about
mind. Forget the whole thing.
psychedelic.
Forget everything I said.
Huh.
Forget it. No, we're not going to talk about that. You're right. You're right. I might even cut that out.
Don't. But yeah, change it up. The topics. It's kind of changing the topics now.
There's kind of a clicking noise when you're not like.
Really?
Yeah, there's a funny clicking noise. Are you on the phone or on the laptop or
No, I am using my corporate like thing. I don't even know what it's called. It's like the
a
thing that
pod?
you use. No, it's a.
A corporate what? Heat?
I am not
Like
even
a
sure what
plastic?
it's called. It's like the
Wow.
corporate
What?
microphone that you use instead of a phone whenever
Oh,
it's
sorry.
on.
Right. All right. Okay. Yeah, you're not working today.
I am not,
Mm.
but this kind of feels like a job.
Does it? I'm stressing you out.
If
It's
we're,
too much work.
if we're talking about politics, it does.
Well, we'll get rid of that. We won't have that. Or maybe I'll leave it. We'll see how it is. I mean, we are openly admitting that we're drinking during this, and
It was a good job. I gotta give you that.
I mean, I'm probably I think I'm drunker than you. For all your talk of you must get mezcal, you must drink. I can't even tell if you're drinking or not. You can't even. I can. You can see me. I
I
can't see you.
am. I am stuttering, and I am
You're not
starting
stuttering.
to
You
feel
sound exactly the
weird.
same as when you started. There's no stuttering. You're imagining the
Yeah.
stutter. Well, you're
No,
worried
no,
about
no.
your English, is it? No, you're not stuttering.
But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good, and that's a given.
So you wouldn't? Would you take acid again or mushrooms?
Never, never. I
Nothing
wouldn't go
really.
back there. No.
Okay. So you don't speak negatively about them, but you would never take them again. Is that the way it is?
Hmm. I think that they are not for everyone. I don't think
Right.
that every single person is ready for them, and I don't think that every person can actually take an advantage out of it. So, and I have met in my life many people that act as if they had taken them, like as if they have like the psychedelic experience that they never had. It's because they
Really?
are able to actually get into that part of their minds and their brains without any external help, such as
So why
psychedelics.
would they do that? What was the what were they doing? Why would they
I don't
pretend
know.
they would?
I think it is like naturally wise people, or I don't know, like very educated people. I wouldn't
Oh, I
know
see what you mean. I
how
see
to
what you
explain that, but there is a
mean.
lot of self-awareness in some people that just makes them not need psychedelics. But some of us do need them. Like I can say that I needed them. It changed
Right.
my life.
Yes. Yes. That's how it is. Yes. Yes, for sure. And some people don't. Yes, they appear to be open-minded naturally, or something else has happened to them. You
Yeah.
wouldn't know what, I guess, but probably events in life. But the people that are stuck on a track that they set out on strictly, you can tell either didn't do them or
Yes.
are meant to be that way. And
You can
like
even
with the
tell if they have.
again with the example of the Eleusinian mysteries, it's obviously they were all made to do it as a part of their religion to
Yeah.
get together and do it. So you know,
We should start a new religion with that.
oh, we should.
We should.
I've been meaning to start a cult for a long time now, and that would definitely be part of the initiation. Would be to take a
Let's do it.
psychedelic. Okay, so we are going to do that then. Everybody I ask about this to do this like declines and goes, "Oh no, we can't do that." But yeah,
No, let's
obviously.
do it. Let's do it until we get in jail or in the news, whatever comes first.
Well, okay, so you don't actually want to do it.
I do, I do, I do. It's a very interesting thing. And also, I could be tripping and earning money without having to work at corporate. So
Well, we've already
that's a
done our trips.
double
We
win.
wouldn't. No, no, no. We wouldn't be the one tripping. You'd have to have an initiate. He goes through like a Mithraic initiation, or like the fucking what are they called? Freemasons or whatever. So you blindfold him and you beat him or something and scare him a bit, and then the final one he has to take some soma and
Yeah.
you and see what happens. And he
Yeah,
has
but you
when
have to try it first in order to become a teacher. So
a
you have to
teacher.
trip. Yeah, a teacher. You have to teach them how to trip.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. But no, definitely a cult should be started because everything is based on cults. Like
Yeah, I
cults
agree.
exist anyways all the time. Like I see people starting like getting involved in like fitness clubs, fitness
Yeah,
gurus, and
yeah.
the guru guy, all the women near the top start to flock to him, and he starts like fucking them and stuff or whatever, and they're all like, oh, but it's like every little thing becomes a cult one way or the other. You may as well just be
Yeah,
open with it and like actually do a cult
I
because you
agree.
see them all. If you look for it, you see them everywhere all the time.
That's true. But I am totally not wearing that cloak.
What cloak?
Your cloak. If we're
Oh,
making a
the
cult,
hood.
I
Now
am
this
not wearing that cloak.
now this
No,
is a little
forget
gimmicky
it.
costume for the podcast just because I have it. What the hell?
I'm totally not wearing that, even if we have
You
a cult. No, that's
Now
not
only
okay.
I can wear it. That's only I wear it.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll look into that. So how long has that been?
53 minutes.
Mm, Closing in on an hour. We can go a bit longer. How's that mezcal going?
Fun. It's going good. How are we going to tell when I should stop talking? I think that was a pretty good sign, to be honest.
What? Okay, okay. All right. So we'll stop it there. Will we? We'll stop
Yes,
it
we
there?
shall.
Okay, so we're a bit drunk, but we were talking about psychedelics. And you can't say we didn't do a good job. Although, I don't know, did we? I'll listen to it
I
later.
think
And
we did. I think
yeah,
we
I think we
did.
did.
The
Yeah,
whole
honestly,
purpose
yeah.
was to have fun, and I think we had fun.
Is it, I don't know. Could we get in trouble for like recommending drugs on the internet or something? I just
We
thought
are
about
not
that.
actually doing that, are
That's
we?
right. Don't do anything we said. None
No.
of it.
Make sure you're over 18.
And yeah, just forget the whole thing.
Yeah,
Forget
this never
it.
happened.
It never happened. It never happened.